Welcome back to the New Music Alliance Radio Hour. I'm Violet Hausthor here this week with Mark Ramone, and you just heard On the Trail with June Apple. Before that, Roosevelt Dime with Down on Your Luck, and starting off that block, Jake Manzi with Be Your Fool. Let's start off with On the Trail out of the Western Connecticut area.
This band kind of came across my radar unsurprisingly, and I really loved the true bluegrass sound to this. They're out of Western Connecticut, and a group of individuals all seem to have Connecticut ties.
It's really solid acoustic. It's fun, it's upbeat, it's got a good energy to it, you know?
Yeah, they were founded through their love of bluegrass in the band the Punch Brothers, and they were the winners of the 2022 Thomas Point Beach Showcase competition.
Pretty cool. Well, yeah. I really love the playing on that. It's very snappy, very precise. It's quite something.
Yeah, very succinct. And they've got some shows coming up if you want to catch them on August 26th at the St. John's Bluegrass Festival in Guilford, Connecticut. They're returning as the 2022 winners of the Thomas Point Beach Bluegrass Festival in Brunswick, Maine. If you want to drive up there on August 31st through September 3rd.
Then before that, we had Roosevelt Dime with Down on Your Luck. Roosevelt Dime was originally Brooklyn-based, though apparently they do still have a local connection more recently.
Yeah, Eben Pariser, I've played just recently. I think on my last playlist, I played Goodnight Moonshine. Eben and his wife, Molly Venter, are basically Goodnight Moonshine, and they reside in the New Haven area now in Connecticut.
Evan was the bassist for Roosevelt Dime, and one of the vocalists. So this is actually really cool. And that's a really fun track as well. It's got definitely a similar bluegrass feel, but it also really leads into this sort of turn of the century blues thing with those strong stacked vocals and that slightly more old school sounds. And then it has this really strict vein of Americana run right through the middle of it. Like, it's the individual components that make up bluegrass, but those components are given center stage as their own thing as well.
Molly, that I mentioned from Goodnight Moonshine, does most of the singing in Goodnight Moonshine. And it's kind of nice to hear Eben's band, the Roosevelt Dime, where he does kind of most of the singing in front of the mic.
Quite good, yeah.
Roosevelt Dime doesn't have any shows coming up, but Goodnight Moonshine has a show, the Barn Series in Southbury, Connecticut on September 7th, and Green Stage and Guilford Live Arts in Guilford, Connecticut on September 25th.
And then we started off with Jake Manzi out of Northampton, Massachusetts, Be Your Fool. That's a really fun single off of an upcoming album, which comes out on August 1st. So I'm looking forward to that already.
I ran into Jake. I went to one of those So Far concerts. I don't know if you've heard of it. It's basically you get a ticket for this event before they even announce where it's going to be and who's going to play. You just know it's going to be really cool. I mean, I've seen their videos afterwards on and there's always some really cool artists, and they do it in Worcester, Massachusetts. So I signed up. This is my first one, and Jake was the opening act of that series. And I'm like, hey, I know this guy.
Yeah.
From Northampton, Mass.
Yeah, familiar name for sure. And a really talented one. I really like this track as well. It's got this sort of alt pop dreaminess that, reminds me a lot of the alt rockers of the 80s and 90s, and then with its own more modern twist to it. It's quite good. And it's got a good hook.
Yeah, I was thinking it's kind of a romantic poppy tune as well. It's catchy, but not sugary sweet as some
not at all.
Pop tunes can. Jake's going to be performing at the Drake in Amherst, Massachusetts on September 8th.
Cool. So what are we hearing next?
This I'm calling the chill set. So get ready to relax to Water Bear, Why You're Leaving.